Ielts reading tips and tricks. This is Asad Yaqub, and now I'm going to tell you about Ielts reading. Before we start our discussion on Ielts reading, let me tell you the reading module is supposed to be the most difficult one. But actually the reading module is not very difficult if you are quite used to English reading. But the problem is many of us, we are not used to reading. We watch TV, we have different other activities, and there are just few people who have reading as a hobby. But anyways, here I'm going to give you some tips and tricks, but let me tell you, my tips and tricks will only work if you know how to read properly, if you have reading comprehension. By this I mean if you read and understand, then obviously you can do Ielts reading quite easily. But on the other hand, if your reading speed is slow, right, if you don't understand what you read, then definitely these tips are not going to work out. So all you need to do, you have to be familiar with the reading patterns, you have to be familiar with the reading styles, and read English as much as possible. Try to read English on the daily basis, and that will actually help you a lot. Academic reading test structure. Now let me tell you here, reading is divided for academic and general training. Academic reading is different and general training reading is different. So here I'm going to discuss both readings, academic and general training. So reading is different for academic and general training, and the difference is only the level of difficulty. For academic, actually it's going to be a little tough, and for general training it's not very easy, but it's not difficult actually. I'm going to explain both types, and the questions are same, the strategies are same, the tips are same, but the only difference is for academic it's going to be rather difficult, and for general training it's going to be simple, right? Anyways, duration of reading test is 60 minutes. I mean, reading test will continue for 60 minutes time, and during this time you got to complete all the tasks. There are 3 sections in Ielts reading, and there are 40 questions. So 3 sections and 40 questions. In each section there are going to be 13 or 14 questions, because total number of questions is actually 40. Each section has a passage containing 700 to 1000 words, right? So you have 3 passages. Each passage will have 700 to 1000 words, and all the 3 passages have almost 2100 to 3000 words. Now listen, 1 hour time, 40 questions, 3 lengthy passages, and the word count is around 2100 word to 3000 word, and you got to do it all in 1 hour time. Don't worry, I'm here, okay? Alright, let me explain. Passages are taken from newspapers, from books, magazines, journals, articles, research papers, or some other sources. So it's a very good idea. If you want to improve your reading for Ielts, then definitely you got to read newspapers, books, magazines, journals, articles, and you see, if you read all these at the international level, I mean, don't read the local newspapers and the local articles. They're not going to help you out with your Ielts. For Ielts, all you need to do, you got to read international newspapers, books, magazines, journals, and then they might help you a lot in your actual Ielts test. Now I'm going to explain the structure of general training Ielts. We have the reading test structure, duration same, 60 minutes time, 3 sections, total 40 questions, and there will be 13 or 14 questions in each section. Each section will have a passage containing 700 to 900 words, and all the 3 passages have almost 2100 to 2700 words. And for general training, let me tell you, in section 1 you might have any advertisement, any pamphlet, any leaflet, any brochure, and you got to process that. Passages are taken from notices, advertisements, official documents, booklets, newspapers, instruction manuals, leaflets, timetables, books and magazines. Now let me tell you the main difference between academic reading and general training reading. Basically, in academic reading, the type of passages that's different. In academic reading, we've got passages based on science, technology, research, innovation, inventions and all that stuff. So they are rather tough. I mean, they are at times difficult to understand. And why do they put these type of passages in academic? Because the academic IELTS is for those who want to study abroad, and if they want to go to English speaking country, then they're going to study these type of things. That's why they have this. Then we have general training. In general training, they will give you the passages which are on the social need, which are rather social, like, you know, newspapers, advertisements, official documents, booklets and all that. Because general training IELTS is for those who want to get immigration of an English speaking country. So there they need to come across all these things. So this is the structure of general training reading test. Now I'm going to tell you the time management. How will you spend your time actually? Because, you know, in IELTS, I told you before, in IELTS time is money. If you spend your time wisely, then obviously you're going to do it in a very good way. So time management for IELTS reading, you should spend 17 minutes on passage number 1 or section number 1. Then you should spend 20 minutes on section number 2, or it can be passage number 2. And you can spend 23 minutes on section number 3. Let me tell you another thing, the level of difficulty is going to increase. By this I mean, section 1 is going to be the easiest one. Then we have section 2, a little more difficult. Then we have section 3, and section 3 is the toughest one. So the level of difficulty will increase. That's why it's advisable that on section 3 you spend maximum time, that is 23 minutes. There is a warning for you. No extra time will be given to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. See now, as in listening you had the answer sheet, on the same answer sheet, that answer sheet will be double print. One side you will have the answers of listening, and the other side will be printed for reading. So in reading, no extra time will be given to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. You will have same 1 hour time to read the passages, to find the answers, to write the answers, and then to transfer the answers to the answer sheet. And examiners will only check the answer sheet. So if you write nothing on answer sheet, you will get nothing. This is a warning for you, right? IELTS reading tasks. Now I'm going to tell you what type of questions are going to be there which you have to answer, and this will help you a lot. This will make you understand what type of reading test is going to be ahead of you in IELTS. First of all, multiple choice. Now in multiple choice, what will happen, you will be given a statement, and that statement will be followed by 3 or 4 options. Rather, in IELTS reading we have 4 options. So you will be given 3 to 4 options, and out of those 3 to 4 options, 1 option is correct. So what you need to do, first of all, read the statement. After that, read the 4 options which are given, and then go to the passage. The first thing is, when you read the statement, you got to find the clue words. So here you got to find the clue words. After finding the clue words, what you need to do, now go to the passage, and then you got to skim and scan, and you can find the answer. Don't worry, I'm going to tell you about skimming and scanning. Just wait, right? Then we have multiple matching. What's multiple matching? Simple. You'll be given a question, and then on the other side there'll be few options, and you got to select from those options the right part for that question. That's multiple matching. Then we have short answer question. In short answer question, there will be a question, and you got to reply that question. And remember, your answer should not exceed 3 words. You can select an answer which is 1-word answer, which is 2-word answer, or maximum 3 words. If you write more than 3 words, your answers will be considered incorrect, right? That's the rule there. So short answer question will have 3 words. They might ask you anything about that. Sentence completion. What will happen? Half part of the sentence will be given, and then there will be a blank. So what you need to do, you need to go to the passage and you got to find the information which is related to that part of the, you need to find information which is related to that part of the question, and there you can see what is the answer and you will complete the answer. This is called sentence completion, and again no more than 3 words, right? Then we have tables, diagrams, flowchart completion. They will give you different diagrams. For example, pyramids. Do you know about pyramids in Egypt? Alright. They will give you a diagram which is going to be related to the interior of the pyramid, and then what are they going to do? They're going to give you some information will be missing, and you will have to read the passage, and you see the information given will help you find the part of the passage where the answer can be, and then with the help of that you can find the part of the passage where the answer can be, and this is how you can keep track of the missing answers, right? That's quite easy. Then we have summary completion, very common question type in IELTS. At the end of section 1, section 2 or section 3, they are going to write a paragraph. That paragraph will be containing the summary of the whole passage, and there will be some blanks. Now sometimes what do? Down there they will give you many words. For example, if there are 5 blanks in the paragraph, they are going to give you around 10 words, and then they will say you can use any word twice as well. So you need to see what is the gist of the passage, and then accordingly you will see what words are appropriate, not grammatically. You have to see what words are appropriate actually according to the sense of the passage, and then you're going to put all those words, and this is what they call summary completion. Then we have paragraph headings. What will happen? The passage will be labeled according to the paragraphs. Now for example, if in one paragraph there are if in one passage there are 6 paragraphs, so these 6 paragraphs will be labeled like A, B, C, D, E, F, and then you see 6 paragraphs, and then you will be given a list of headings, and there will be around 10 headings. Now what you need to do, you've got to see which heading is appropriate for paragraph number A, paragraph number B, paragraph number C, and all that stuff, right? So this is only possible if you understand the gist of individual paragraph, like paragraph A, B, C, and D. So this is called paragraph headings, and there is going to be, again, there will be the set of questions. It is not necessary that they will ask you all the type of questions. All the type of questions will not be given. They can be like in every IELTS reading test we have 40 questions, right? So in these 40 questions there will be the sets of questions like multiple choice, 5 questions or 6 questions, then short answer questions, 4 or 5 questions, so like that. I mean, they're going to give you 7 to 8 options. Then we have locating information, right? They will give you some diagrams, and there you will have to locate the information. Identifying writer's view or claims. Usually it happens that the last question of any section, they might ask you what is the writer's opinion about this thing, or what is the writer's point of view in this passage, and then there will be 3 options, option A, option B, option C. So after doing 13 questions or 12 questions, when you understand the whole gist of the passage, then you can answer this question, which is identifying writer's views or claims. Then we have classification and matching. So these are the question types for IELTS reading, and let me tell you again, your success lies in reading English regularly. If you plan to get a good band score in IELTS reading, don't start IELTS reading, start with reading, because if you read English, if you understand English, if you comprehend English, then definitely you can get a very good band score in IELTS reading as well. Now let's see, we go on, and I tell you about IELTS academic reading contents. What type of contents are going to be there? We have 3 sections, section 1, section 2, and section 3. In section 1 there is going to be one long text for academic IELTS candidates, and there will be 13 questions, and the content is general academic. I mean, there can be, for example, I appeared in Ielts twice. So when I appeared first time, there was a complete passage about the stories, about the fables, the stories for children, right? So this was in section 1. I still remember that, although it's been a long time, almost around 2.5 years. In section 2, again there will be a long text for academic Ielts students, and there will be 13 questions, and there will be a passage. It's going to present a logical argument. So there will be one passage, and that passage will be presenting a logical argument about something, right? Can be based on research, science, or findings, or the results of the experiments and all that stuff. Then we have section 3, Ielts reading for academic students. For academic candidates, there's going to be another long text, and there will be 14 questions, and there will be a passage that includes a diagram, graph, or illustration. So what I'm telling you, it's not very hard and fast. Sometimes they give diagram in section 1 also. So I mean, it might go here and there, but these are the 3 passages for academic students, and this is the structure. Now let me tell you more about Ielts general training reading content, right? In general training reading content, we have the same 3 sections. Section 1, there will be 2 to 3 short text. Now see, in academic there is a long text, but in general training there will be 2 or 3 short text, and these texts are going to be about notices, advertisements, publicity, booklet, timetables, etc. And they're very, very simple, because you know, in general training it's already not as typical, as complicated as Ielts, right? So in general training there's going to be there is going to be some simple stuff like notices, advertisements, publicity stuff, and all that, and this will happen in section 1, general training reading. In section 2, there are going to be 2 short texts, and these texts are going to be from college catalog, course description, rules and regulations, library guides, etc. Or there can be the manuals, how something works, and all that stuff. So this is going to be general training reading section 2. There will be 2 texts there. Then we have got section 3 for general training reading, and there we have 1 long text. Here we can have a text taken from the newspaper, from the magazine, from journals, from books, but remember, the nature of this text is social. I mean, unlike academic, in academic it's all based on science, technology, research. For general training, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be a text which is going to be quite social, right? So this is the whole structure or the content of general training Ielts. I would like to give you some reading tips, or rather we can call it the reading skill, or we can call it the reading technique. We have basically 3 reading tips. One is skimming, second is scanning, and third is reading for detail. Now what is skimming, scanning, and reading for detail? I'm going to explain these one by one. Skimming. For instance, I give you a newspaper, and I say this is the whole newspaper, and you just have 3 minutes. Go through this newspaper, and after 3 minutes just tell me about few things from the newspaper. Now what will you do? You will read the headlines, the second headline, the third headline, and you are going to just skim it, and then you will say, well, this newspaper tells this. In the same way, if I give you a book of my favorite writer, R.L. Stein, if I give you a book of my favorite writer, and I give you this thick book, and I say, you just have 3 minutes, go through this book and tell me what this book is all about, right? So you will not read every page, every word, every sentence, every paragraph. What you're going to do, you will open the book and you'll go to few pages and you'll say, all right, this book is about a horror story, because R.L. Stein usually writes the horror stories. That's why I like him so much. This is called skimming, right? Understand? Skimming means getting the gist of something. What is scanning? if I give you the dictionary and I say, all right, this is the dictionary, and from the dictionary you have to find the meaning of the word nincompoop. Now what will you do? You will go to nin, N-I-N, all right? You will just open the dictionary and quickly first you will reach N. Right after N you will go to N-I-N, nin, and then you will find the meaning of nincompoop. By the way, do you know what's the meaning of nincompoop? No? Okay, I tell you, nincompoop means silly, alright, or rather stupid. So you can find the meaning of nincompoop from the dictionary. Have you noticed which technique are you using when you are finding the meaning of the word nincompoop? This is actually scanning. Then we have reading for detail. Now reading for detail, we've got another one, intensive reading and extensive reading. So reading for detail means you find out the details about something. Now for example, whenever I go to the bookshop, my favorite bookshop, there I go and I go through the novels of R.L. Stein and I just go through them. That is actually skimming. But before I do skimming, I do scanning. Through scanning, I take out few books and then I open them and I read 1 or 2 pages. That is skimming. Now afterwards, I take these novels back home, and whenever I have free time, for example, I'm traveling, I'm going with my friend, that time I start reading for detail. I read every page, every paragraph, every sentence and every word. So in Ielts, if you are familiar with these 3 types of readings, definitely you are going to understand and you will do reading quite successfully. Now I'm going to give you some more skimming techniques. First I told you the general things about skimming. Now let's discuss skimming in detail. Skimming is reading fast to get the gist or the general idea of the text, as I explained before. Run your eyes over the text, getting the general meaning, means what this text is all about and what does it say. Do not stop at words that you don't understand. Actually, you know, in IELTS reading there are going to be many words you don't understand. There are going to be many words you don't even know the meaning of. So all you need to do, guess and go. Guess and go. Don't stop there. Then skim speedily. Don't skim very slowly. See, sometimes if you have a book, you open the book and say, all right, this book is about science. Right? You have another book, take the book and you open the book and all right, this book is about music. Right? So you understand it. So you got to skim speedily. Another way to skim is just to read the first and last paragraphs. Now what can you do? The passage they are going to give you, you can read the first or the last paragraph and then again quickly, and then you will understand what this passage is all about, because the first paragraph of any passage is going to tell you what this passage is all about, and the last paragraph is going to conclude. So introduction and conclusion, and you will understand everything about that. Then read the title, subtitles and illustrations. If the passage has got a title, read the title, because the title will tell you what this passage is all about. Then afterwards read the subtitle, because the subtitle again tell you what different parts of the passage are all about, and if there are any pictures, any illustrations, they will help you understand the passage. Remember, if you understand the passage, you can understand the questions and you can answer the questions. If you don't even understand the passage, how will you answer the questions? Very difficult, yeah? Then we have scanning techniques. I would explain what is scanning and how can you do scanning successfully. Scanning the dictionary or telephone directory. As I told you before, you can scan the dictionary, you can find the meaning of the word nincompoop, or you can scan telephone directory. This is again going to help you. Don't start from the top and read every line. This is not scanning. Now if I say, please find the meaning of the word nincompoop from the dictionary, and it starts from N, right? And what you do, you start from A, B, C, D, and you read every word, everything. This is not going to be a fine idea. All you need to do, just go quickly. All right, I've reached H, I, J, K, L, M, N, stop. And now here you can find it all very clearly, right? So don't start from the top and read every line. Move your eyes around the text, back and across, up and down. Now it's not necessary that you have to read every line when you are scanning. For example, I give you a handout right? And that handout is like an essay, and in the essay there is a word written dummy, right? The word is written dummy over there, and I say, okay, please, in this passage underline the word dummy. Now it's not necessary that you read every line, because you are scanning, and let me tell you, skimming and scanning will help you a lot in your actual IELTS reading test. So what you need to do, go through the lines, left, right, up, down, and until you find the word dummy, stop there, underline that word, and that's it. So this is how you actually scan. Read the questions, and then you search for keywords or ideas associated with the question. Now, why are we using scanning techniques? First of all, skim the passage, and the skimming will give you the whole gist of the passage. After skimming, now you can read the questions and scan for the answers. Scan for the answer when you realize, okay, the answer of question number 5 is in 3rd paragraph, 4th line. Now read it very carefully, and then you will find the answer. Tips to improve reading skills. Now I'm gonna give you some tips, and let me tell you, let me rather warn you, my tips will only work if you are going to work out. My tips will only work if you are going to act upon all these tips, if you are going to follow them. And if after watching this video you say, all right, my previous way was better, then again this video is going to be useless for you. So I'm going to give you some tips. Listen to me carefully and use these tips. First of all, increase your reading speed. You know what happens whenever we read? Sometimes we read the words if we are expert readers, and if we are not expert readers, then we will read the spellings. You know what happens? If there is a word characteristic, now if you are not a regular reader, you will look at the first 3 letters, the middle letters, and the last letters, and then you will read the word characteristic. But if you are a regular reader, you will look at the word and your eyes will identify the word. So all you need to do, you need to increase your reading speed. Your reading speed will only increase if you identify the words, not the spelling combinations. On the other hand, some expert readers, they identify the sentences. They read sentences and they read very quickly, because you have only 1 hour time. And there are lengthy passages in 1 hour time. You got to solve them. If you don't have good speed, you can never do it. The only secret to improve reading is practice. Practice and practice. So all you need to do, you will have to practice, because practice makes perfect. Practice reading articles, newspapers, and even you can go to the internet, and there you can read international magazines, journals, and newspapers. They are going to help you a lot. Now I'm going to give you some general reading tips, and these tips are going to help you with your IELTS reading. First of all, have interaction with the passage. See, if you meet someone for the first time, you're not familiar with that person. But if you meet someone again and again and again and again, then you're going to be quite familiar with that person. You know what I mean, okay? Same is the case with the passage. If you interact with the passage more, then definitely you will develop a good understanding of the passage. You will know where is what, or what is where, because you are quite familiar with the passage, right? So have an interaction with the passage. Keep in the mind the 2 questions about the text. This is very, very important. I have a friend, Zulfikar Ali Awan, and he is a very good IELTS trainer here in Pakistan, and he's shared this thing that whenever there is a passage, keep in the mind the 2 questions about the text. What subject is the text about? Is it about science or arts or technology or discoveries or inventions or what? So the first thing is, what subject is the text about? And second, why was this text written? Was it written to inform? Was it written to convince, or whatever? So 2 things: what subject is the text about, and why was this text written? This will help you a lot. Then retain the questions. Very, very important. When you read the questions, because there are going to be 13 questions in each section, all you need to do, you got to read the questions and retain the questions. Now for instance, if I read the newspaper, I read newspaper for 1 hour, and after that I put the newspaper away, and you ask me, okay Asad, tell me, what did you read in the newspaper? And I say, well, I read I don't remember. It means my retention is very weak. It is directly related to your memory, right? So all you need to do, you need to have good memory, work out the details for that as well. All you need to do, you should be able to retain 2 questions or even 3 questions, because you know when you are scanning for the answers, if you have 3 questions in mind, then you know, okay, I can stop there and I can find the answer to these questions as well. If you've got 3 questions in mind, you can just find them because you will scan all the passage. Get the gist of unfamiliar words. In every passage, there are going to be 5 to 10 words you've never heard of, you've never seen, and these words will look dangerous, right? What are the dangerous words? The words which are difficult to understand. But you don't have to worry. Now you should not stop and think that I don't know the meaning of this word. How can I answer all the questions? Come on, calm down. What you need to see what is the role of the word in the sentence. Is it a subject? Is it a verb? Is it an object? The first thing. Second, you can see how does it work. I mean, what role the word is playing in the sentence. Is it the name of a place, a proper noun or a common noun? If it's a verb, so you can guess the meaning of that specific word and go on. Let me tell you one thing. Even if you translate all the passage in your native language, you will not be able to solve all the questions quite easily, because the questions are very tricky. The questions will twist your mind. At times you understand the passage, but the questions themselves are very difficult to understand. So you don't need to worry about the difficult words. They will come, overlook them, guess their meaning and move on to the next one. Experiments with both strategies. Now, let me tell you, there are 2 strategies, questions first or passage first. I've appeared in Ielts 2 times, and one time when I appeared the first time, that time I used a different technique. Then second time I appeared in Ielts test, I used a different technique. What happened the first time? The first time I used the technique that I read all the questions first. I mean 1 to 13. I read all the questions, then I came to the passage. I read first paragraph of the passage and I went to all 13 questions and I just saw if any answer is there. I wrote down the answer and moved on to the next paragraph. And this is how I kept in mind 13 questions and I scanned the passage for answers paragraph by paragraph. Now you know what happened? At the end, when I reached the last paragraph, I realized I missed 2 or 3 questions. And then this is not advisable, one thing. Second, in this methodology, you have to read all the passage. In 1 hour time, you cannot read all the passages. So again, the best technique is have an interaction with the passage. After having some interaction with the passage, then definitely go to the questions, read the questions, understand them, and then scan for the answers and you will find them. One set of questions. Now let me tell you one more thing, that the answers and questions, they are not in same order. If you expect the answer of question number 1 will come in the first paragraph and the answer of question number 13 will come in the last paragraph, you are mistaken. That's not right. Because you know, in listening it's true, but in reading the information is scattered. By this I mean the information is scattered. The answer of question number 1 you can find in the middle of the passage. The answer of question number 13 you might find in the first paragraph, right? So, but there is still a rule, one set of questions. As you know, I told you about the question type. One set of questions, they are going to follow the same pattern or the same sequence. Now, for example, if we have fill in the blanks 4 questions, now it is likely, I'm not saying it is sure, it is likely that these 4 answers are going to come sequence wise into the passage. And then in reading, spelling matters a lot. You should have good, I mean, it's not that you're spelling cat, K-A-T, cat. Cat should be spelled C-A-T, exactly. Spellings do matter. Then grammar counts, but you don't need to write grammar actually. In reading, what happens, you just write 3 words. Now in 3 words you never write a sentence, so grammar, that it doesn't count that much. In sentence completion tasks, focus on the meaning. Now don't focus on the words, focus on the meaning, the gist of the sentences, because in sentence completion you have to complete the sentence according to the statement or according to the information given in the passage, not according to grammar. Do many practice tests. I told you about Cambridge Ielts. book 5 and book 6, they are very good. If you finish with them, then you can come to book 4 and book 3 as well. They are going to help you a lot, and go through as many practice tests as you can. This will help you a lot. Now do one more thing. Take one IELTS reading test. Once it is done, then see how many answers have you found and how many answers you could not find. After that, write down the answers which you could not find, and now try to locate them into the passage. This counter activity will help you a lot understand the mindset of the examiner, that how examiner has hidden all the answers into this passage, right? Then read widely and habitually. Reading should be habitual. At least when you are taking IELTS, before that 2 months or 3 months, you should read habitually and read widely. Widely means whatever you want to read. I'm saying read widely, not wildly, like some people read too much. Yeah. Look out for key synonyms, because synonyms are the word of the same meaning. Now what will happen in IELTS, in the questions and the passage, they are not going to use the same language. They are not going to use the same word. The wording of the question will be different and the wording of the passage will be different, but these words will be synonyms. So you need to learn a lot of synonyms, and this will help you a lot. Use only the stated number of words, the words which are stated, and it's not necessary that you say I will cram the whole dictionary and that will help me. Never cram the dictionary. If you want to improve your vocabulary even, then you can improve your vocabulary with the help of reading. Reading improves your language a lot. IELTS reading action plan. Now I'm going to give you a complete action plan. I'm going to tell you how are you going to take your IELTS reading test, what is the complete plan, what will you do, and how will you answer the questions. Step 1. Now we've got certain steps and you have to follow these steps. Step 1. Read the questions and underline the keywords. The first thing you need to do, there is an argument about that, whether you have to read the questions first or skim the passage, whatever. There is a little argument about that, but what I advise you is, first of all, read the questions, because the questions contain the summary of the passage. So if you read the questions, obviously it's going to help you a lot. Read the questions, and don't just read the questions. Read the questions and underline the keywords. Whatever the keywords are there, you have to underline those keywords, right? After that, step 2, retain 2 or 3 questions and scan the text to find the relevant information. Now you've read almost all the questions. The questions contain the summary of the passage, and you've understood, okay, now I understand what the passage is going to be about. And even before that, you can skim the passage a little, right? Afterwards, what you need to do, you need to retain 2 or 3 questions. Now, for example, if I send you to a superstore and I say go to the superstore and buy a mug, you go to the superstore, come back. Then I say, okay, now go to the superstore and buy a packet of biscuits. You go to the superstore and come back with the packet of biscuits. Then I say, go to the superstore and buy a chocolate. Now this time you will have to go to the superstore 3 times. But if I tell you a mug, a packet of biscuits and a chocolate, then you will go once and find all these 3 things there. Right? So the same is the case with IELTS reading. If you read 3 questions and then you go to the passage, going to the passage is just like going to the superstore, right? And there you will just find all these 3 items and you will write down the answers in your answer booklet, right? So this is how you got to do, and try to retain as many questions as you can. Step 3, find the paragraph and then the lines which are related to question. Now see, your only job, you need to narrow your search. You are doing some search operation. I would call it search operation, because you got to find the answers. Read the question, underline the keyword, find the clue words, and now come to the passage, scan the passage and start your search operation. The first search operation is find the paragraph where the answer can be. You found the paragraph, now find the lines, the sentences where the answer can be. You found the lines and now find the answer, write the answer, recheck the answer, and then move on to the next question, right? Step 4, find, match, confirm, and write the answer. That's what I've told you. And step 5, go to step 2 again, and this is you're going to find all the answers. Now I'm going to give you some tips by question type. First of all, beat the fear. Don't be afraid of IELTS reading. I told you practice, practice and practice will actually help you a lot. So beat the fear, read as much as possible, then improve key skills, that is skimming and scanning. You must improve your skimming, you must improve your scanning, because if you're quick in skimming and scanning, you can do it quite easily. Time management, manage your time, because in IELTS reading you just have 1 hour, and in 1 hour you got to do it all. So manage your time. Then focus the question. Avoid careless errors. You need to focus the question. Don't waste your time here and there. See what is the question, what answer is required, or what will make the answer, right? That can help you. Then train yourself. Don't just say, okay, I will see what happens in IELTS. You got to actually train yourself. Don't test yourself that I'll see what happens. Learn how to underline the keywords, the key information, and as minimum words as possible you can do it. Be careful with keywords. Whatever the keywords are given there, you got to be careful and carefully find the right keywords, right? And after that, the questions follow the text normally. So you got to just see it, the questions, they follow the text normally, you got to follow that. The questions or the text, which do you read the first? I told you my advice for you is, this, that first of all, try to read the questions and then you can come to the text, read the headlines, the outlines, and then you will understand more about that. But if you read all the questions, because the questions contain the summary, that's why you can clearly understand the gist of the passage as well. The questions or the text, which do you read first? It's done. Fill out the answer sheet. Remember, all the answers you're writing on the question booklet, you have to transfer those answers to the answer sheet. No extra time will be given. You got to do it at the same time, right? 1 hour time, you have 3 passages, and then my advice for you here is this: when you've done with section 1, transfer your answers to the answer sheet. Then section 2, transfer your answers to the answer sheet, and then section 3, because when time will be over, you will not be able to jot down a single word, right? So that's why when you're doing section 3 and the time is running out, the time warnings are going on, like 5 minutes left, 3 minutes left, transfer all the answers to the answer sheet so that you are safe and sound. If you follow all these instructions very carefully, and if you follow all these tips very carefully, you can get a very good band score in IELTS reading. And let me tell you, success in IELTS means you are ready for international opportunities. Wish you good luck and thank you.